My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey y'all, so here's what's going on. This is the same day on which I filmed my video about new makeup releases that I think would have gone up on Saturday. I'm not sure when this is going up, and I'm not sure when that will have gone up. It'll have gone up recently, my video about new makeup releases that I filmed in my full photo shoot beat, because I got ready for our photo shoot and then I filmed that video. So it's later in that same day. I've done the photo shoot, I've finished all of the Friday week work. I finished all of my Friday work, and now I'm back at home and I just washed off the entire face. I don't like to have that makeup sitting on my face, but I am gonna film some more later today, and in about an hour I'm gonna go get my nails redone. I'm gonna get them filled, and I'm gonna pick a different color. I don't even know yet what I'm gonna do. I usually have a plan, but right now I don't have a plan, so I'm probably gonna wing it when I get there. Anyway, you don't need to know that. What you do need to know is that I'm getting ready, but the dishwasher is on and the washing machine is on, all humming in this one open space. And Joe is probably gonna come home for lunch while I'm filming. So I don't even know if this footage is gonna be any good. I am going to put on another look with my little palette that I made to dupe the vibes of the Natasha Denona Coral Palette. So this will kind of be that, like a get ready with me and a duping the vibes of the Natasha Denona Coral Palette. But I might end up fast forwarding through a lot of the footage. It's probably just going to be kind of a simple little bonus video, like an off the cuff bonus video. I was about to get ready and I wanted to get ready with you. So that's all that we're doing. I hope it's not too noisy in here. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. I'm starting by priming my eyes. So earlier today when I made that look for the photo shoot, I went in pretty hard with like the dark rusty color that shows up in that coral palette, and I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna go kind of for the lighter, creamier, more lavender aspect of that palette. I will put up on the screen right now the look that inspired me earlier today for my photo shoot look. It's the one on the Sephora website and the listing for the coral palette. It's really, really, really beautiful. I obviously added some to it. I kind of blended the glimmery lavender aspect into that more kind of pure red coral, dark red coral look, but that was my general inspiration. I think for this look, I'm sort of gonna leave those deeper reds alone, and I'm just gonna go in for these more iridescent kind of blue lavender shimmery colors. It was really fun putting this together because I have so many truly extraordinary eyeshadows that are in the same vein as the coral palette. They have the vibes of the coral palette, but they're way more special than those eyeshadows. I think I said that in my video in which I talked about new releases. I just feel like this is a little palette of way more extraordinary eyeshadows than the coral palette itself. And the only thing I'm really missing is that dark, rich, ruddy red, that kind of really creamy, almost brown red, brown maple. I might be on the lookout for a single in that color, because that would probably be a better course of action than actually buying that palette, because there are so many 2 and maybe even 3 eyeshadows in that palette that I don't particularly feel like I need to add to my collection. So I am going to go, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to dig in. I have these kind of strange creamy duochromes. So this one's Mr. Sandman, which is a ColourPop shadow, sort of a pinky lavender duochrome, very grungy. And this is Genesis by Luxie Beauty that was sent to me by a subscriber. And it's more of a bright lavender. So there's Mr. Sandman and there's Genesis. Neither of them is a spot-on dupe for the lavender shade in the Natasha Denona Coral Palette, but they both have the vibes. And then of course we have JD Glow Good God, JD Glow Good God, which is just like the one that's in the Natasha Denona palette, but on steroids. It's really, really incredible. I think I might mess around just with those right now, and then maybe bring something darker in later to deepen it up, but I'm gonna start by messing around just with those. Hold on. And you know what? I'm actually gonna zoom in, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just mess around with those shadows on my eyes without talking. I'm just gonna experiment, and I'll speed up the footage a little bit so that the video doesn't drag too much, and maybe I'll put some music in to cover up the noises of all of these machines. All right, so there we have sort of a very strange kind of alien periwinkle glossy semi-shadowy eye. I mean, there's very, very little sculpting in this eye. The only real sculpting happened when I layered Mr. Sandman, which is a slightly darker pale iridescent purple over top of Genesis, which is a much brighter, more periwinkle pale iridescent purple. So it's really, really, really subtle. I have such hooded eyes that I think what I want to do is to just do a tiny bit more sculpting with a slightly darker shadow. I'm going to go in with this shimmery cranberry shadow. This, I think it's called Nomad. I depotted it from a Juvia's Place palette. Now, all of my hooded eye friends out there, take note that my first application of that sculpting shadow, even though it's like a glimmery duochrome, the one I'm using to sculpt, I didn't apply it into my crease, I didn't apply it into my outer V. I applied it onto this area, which is actually above my crease and underneath my eyebrow. So it's this little area that's between my mobile lid and my eyebrow. I darkened that area, and that is to create the illusion that that part of the eye recedes instead of actually puffing out, which is what it does in real life. So in real life, that part of my eye puffs out. It's part of the hood, right? But I'm creating the area that it is a cavity, that it's shadowed, that it's deeper, and that makes it look like my eyes are kind of deeper, more open, and fuller, sort of, if that makes sense. Now I'm going to go in and put it more traditionally into my outer corner and along my upper lash line, and maybe a tiny bit on my lower lash line too. All right, there's the look. Not yet with mascara, and I haven't cleaned up my fallout or anything yet, but you can really see what the eyeshadows are doing. And this is a look that I'm not sure you could get with the Natasha Denona Coral Palette. You would probably be able to get something similar to this with that shimmery lavender duochrome and the shimmery cranberry shade in there. But mine is better because it's more dimensional, because I used more eyeshadows. They're eyeshadows that I already have, so I didn't have to buy anything to do it. But I have more variety, more kind of intensity with some of these indie eyeshadows. And so I feel like this is better, more breadth, more depth. However, I would never have done this if I hadn't been trying to dupe the vibes of the Natasha Denona Coral Palette, if I hadn't been playing around with this little palette that I made in the image of that palette. So in that way, I definitely owe a debt to Natasha Denona for her artistry in putting together that palette and to the release of that palette. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out and apply mascara off camera, and I'm going to clean up this fallout. And I also feel like this is a really good time for an ad break. So I'll go ahead and do all of that off camera. I'm going to insert a commercial here, and then when I come back, I will discuss more of the look with you after I've got the mascara on. All right, so there we are with mascara on and the fallout cleaned up, and I did put on this green primer. It's the Clarins SOS primer, the green one, my favorite of all time. I'm running really low on it, but my skin is actually in pretty good shape these days. I don't know if it's just, you know, the general cycles. I feel like sometimes my skin misbehaves and sometimes it behaves very well. But I did have the opportunity to get a facial for free, which was really exciting. I used to get facials all the time. It was one of the ways in which I kind of obsessively spent on self-care, feeling like it was what would make me happy. And so when I did my no-buy year, I stopped doing that. I didn't count salon services as part of my no-buy, but I also really tapered off in terms of how many salon services I got. I feel like it was part and parcel with the project of my no-buy year. And I actually haven't had a full proper facial. I mean, what am I talking about? I haven't had any kind of facial probably in well over a year. I can't remember ever getting a facial during my no-buy year. So it might have been actually more than a year and a half since I've done that, even though I used to do it all the time. So it popped up in my Octoly free store. The Caudalie spa in Venice in LA was offering free facials in exchange for an influencer to just mention it on her YouTube channel or on Instagram, which is what I'm doing now. And I can report back that I was impressed. I have become kind of a connoisseur of facials since I used to get them so often. And also my friend Julene is an amazing esthetician. I mean, she's a master of that work. And so I learned a lot from her about what a really good facial means. And I was impressed. I feel like if you're ever, I don't know, on vacation in LA and you're spending the day in Venice and you're wanting to include like a spa day or a spa service in that, I would definitely unhesitatingly recommend the facialist at the spa, the Caudalie spa on Abbot Kinney in Venice. It was a really good experience and my skin definitely loved it. Oh, I wanted to touch base about the eye look. I feel like this is a very kind of eerie and mysterious and fairy-like, you know, sort of pale, almost a little bit gray around the edges because of that periwinkle look. It's super unusual. It's not something that I would usually do, but it's definitely something that represents one of the facets of the Coral palette. Like this is something that you could achieve, or this is something that if I were trying to figure out what the full range of that palette is, from all the way from like the really smoky, pure red cranberry, almost matte coral red looks, through to this would be the other end of the spectrum, the super ethereal, fairy-like, lavender, periwinkle, lots of shimmer, kind of all shimmer looks with a little bit of deepening, but the deepening was done with that shimmery cranberry and that kind of blended with the shimmery lavender and made like a super iridescent color. So I'm into it. It's definitely very Coral palette inspired, but it came out in a slightly unexpected way. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish my face makeup. And again, I'm not gonna stop and talk. I'm just gonna go through it. I will probably mostly use the Touche Claw, like the original Touche Claw, because it's so sheer. And I feel like a heavy base of any kind would overwhelm this eye look. So I wanna keep it super light on my skin, pretty much no makeup on my skin. I'm going to go in with a touch of blush, probably Wisteria from this Becca palette. And is that it for skin? If I do anything else, I'll chat about it after I come back. So I'm gonna go ahead and just clean up my base real quick. All right, so there's some base makeup on. I did a little spot concealing with my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and I also did my brows. I forgot to mention that before I went into fast forward mode. I used soap in them, and then I used a little bit of the ColourPop brow pencil to just fill in some patchiness on the inside. And then I combed them into not quite the sort of dramatic upward shape that I frequently do, but a little bit more of a tamed and sculpted shape, which I think is working pretty well with what I've got going on right now with my brows. So what remains is to apply a lip, and I was thinking of using the last little smidge of this Bite Beauty Lip Pencil in Glacé, which as you can see is completely done. I feel like there's one application left and I'm gonna have to dig into it. But I also have something that I purchased this month. Hold on. This is one of the 2 things I've purchased so far this month. It's the L'Oreal Paris Color Riche Shine Lipstick in the shade Dazzling Dough. Everybody talks about these lipsticks, how nourishing and wonderful they are, and I just really wanted to try. I wanted to branch out into the comfortable, glossy lip realm, but I wanted to do it at a drugstore price and with a tried and true formula. And I am actually really impressed by this formula. Dazzling Dough is very gray. It's like the slightly shiny and much more emollient version of Gone Greige. I'm going to put it on and then we'll see how it looks with this look. I actually think it works really well with this eye because the eye is grounded pretty much in cool tone shadows and it's a cool toned lip, and it also makes it more edgy, and I feel like the eyeshadow is it's editorial, but it's also kind of fairy-like, and so it's at the whole look sort of is at risk of just floating away into fairyland, and this look kind of puts its feet back down on cement, city sidewalk cement. I usually take my hair down at the end of get readys with me. And I know I've had this little weird curl sticking out the whole time that looks cute in real life, but it always looks super weird on camera. But I actually think this look looks pretty cool with like a sleek, slicked back hair. Maybe what I'll do is to take it down out of this bun and put it into like a sleek, slicked back ponytail to finish the look. There. I'm not sure that that's how I'll leave it when I film the other videos or even to go get my nails done, but I feel like that's a good way to end this little get ready with me. I feel like that looks super cool. But I forgot to put my mole back on. Hold on. And I also forgot to say what I was going to say about the Color Riche Shine formula, which is that the thing that super impresses me about it is its opacity. I was thinking, especially with this color, Dazzling Dough, which is so gray, and so in order for it to look right, it has to actually obscure the dark pink color of my natural lips. Like it has to be opaque enough to block out my actual lip color, because otherwise it would look super weird, because this color is so different from my natural lip color. Whereas a lot of other lipsticks, you know, peaches, apricots, roses, mauves. The other one I wanted was fawn, something fawn. It's the kind of warm-toned nude, and they didn't have it in the drugstore when I was shopping. I did a bunch of research and I decided to get both of them. I'll probably try to pick that one up this month too, especially now that I've tried the formula and I really, really like it. So with that color, it wouldn't be so important that it be opaque and that it obscure my natural lip color, because my natural lip color would kind of work with it and contribute to the overall effect. But with a color like this, I was actually kind of half convinced that it was gonna not work and look super bad, but it does look gorgeous. It's so shiny that it seems like it's sheer, like it has the look of something sheer. It definitely has the feel of something sheer, and it's easy to apply in the way that semi-sheer lip products are easy to apply without getting, you know, a bunch of flaws and bleeding and unevenness. It's just really, really, really easy. You saw me, I applied it without a hand mirror. I was just looking at my like far away mirror. So it's a really elegant and easy formula, and yet the color is opaque enough to make a weird color like this really, really work. So I'm super impressed by it, and again, I'm definitely planning to pick up the other one when I get a chance. And that is it. This is the finished look. I really like it. And again, this is something that I would never have thought to do. I would never have conceived of this look if I hadn't set out to dupe the vibes of the Natasha Denona Coral Palette. It's a palette that I am really drawn to, that I technically want, like I wish I had it, but I don't want to spend that amount of my budget on it, especially when I can dupe the vibes so thoroughly that I feel like my duping has gone above and beyond and brought me to places of innovation with my own makeup that palette might have brought me, but in a way, I almost feel like it's further than that palette would have bought me. It's kind of like I'm taking what I already own and taking my creativity and meeting with the idea of that palette, and the combustion has become far greater than the kind of rote act of like going to the store and buying it and applying the looks that, you know, it's just more exciting, more dynamic, and greater than the sum of the parts of buying that palette would be, if that makes sense. So I'm excited about how it turned out, and I think that this is super fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I am really looking forward to chatting with you, and I'm sorry about all the noise. I mean, I know some of you are going to be like, we can't hear it, but maybe you can. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be. I'm sure you definitely heard Joe pulling his chair out just now. But this is just one of those videos that the conditions weren't ideal. It was rather chaotic, but I decided to film anyway. All right, goodbye. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.